Michael McClure, Kurt Hemmer. Any questions from the audience?
Would you say something about your film?
Sure.
I think the most important thing about this film is that it should be inspirational for students watching it today. One of the reasons we made it was that we could show it to students at my college, Harper College in Palatine, Illinois, and inspire them to be creative in a way that is meaningful to the world that's around them. And I think what you see in this film is someone who played a very vital role in the politics of his time and still now, and did it in an artistic way. And I think that's absolutely beautiful. And a lot of my students come to me. I'm a teacher. I'm sorry, I should introduce myself. Kurt Hemmer. I teach at Harper College. I teach English. And a lot of my students come to me and they say, you know, what can we do? We don't like the way things are going on today. What can we do about it? And I love to show them this film and say, well, here's someone that in an artistic way engages with his times.
I was wondering, out of your 99 poems, which do you think was your favorite to reread and like revisit?
Pardon?
Which Ghost Stanza poem do you like the best of the album?
I love to think of the red purple rose in the darkness cooled by the night. We are served by machines making satins of sounds. Each blot of sound is a bud or a star. Body eats bouquets of the ear's vista. Gar. Body, eyes, ears, nose, deem thou, roar. Vorna, garumi, nadru sirchnati. The machines are too dull when we are lion poems that move and breathe. When we Andri Maitath Sharu Sridano Dimdes One Ethos Rom.
What's next, Michael?
I want to say another thing about Kurt. Another thing that he did, another accomplishment of his that it's not mentioned anywhere that I saw in any of the material, or nor does he flag it or wave it about himself, but he edited and indeed wrote a very large part of the Beat Encyclopedia, which is a formidable book. Or is it two books? Is it one volume or two? It's one volume. It's big enough to be 2 volumes. And it's a beautiful piece of scholarship and simple. Well, you know what? That must have something to do with putting a film together too, to be able to put that encyclopedia together. Anyway, we thank you for being here, and it's been very beautiful to be guests of Mel's and Paul's.
I'd like to thank Mel in particular for letting us screen this. This is the first time ever it's been screened for a public audience. And I'd also like to say one of the great things about Michael McClure's poetry is that it is very complex, and it's the type of poetry that makes you sit back and think. And a lot of poetry, I think, gives you easy answers, or is something that you can hug and embrace. And I think one of the things I really appreciate about Michael's poetry, and one of the reasons we wanted to do this film, is that his poetry really engages the mind. And I think that's really important, particularly today, especially, you know, we have this major election coming up. It's a type of poetry that makes you look deeper, that makes you search, that makes you find something. It's a type of poetry that makes the audience engage with it. So it's unlike, let's say, a movie that flows over you, that gives you something. It's a type of poetry that you have to give back, that you have to interact with. And I think that's one of the great things about Michael McClure's poetry.
As a poet myself, I'd like to thank you for putting all that poetry into that film.
That was
Films
Jack
often
Foley.
avoid poetry.
Jack Foley.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Before you go on break, if you happen to bump into me, like you might bump into me at a bar or something, if you bump into me and you would like to have a copy of this film, please ask me. It's free. We'll give it to you. So, thank you very much for coming. Thanks very much.
Maestro. Thank you. Thank you.